YouTube, what's poppin', man? I appreciate y'all checking back with me. Got a reaction. This is something different. This is a video that shows how animals can kill themselves. It's like built-in suicide, like genetic suicide for animals. It sucks to know that, you know what I'm saying. Eventually, at some point in your animal life, you're just gonna die by your own, just by being alive. You're gonna kill yourself. Man, let's watch this shit.
Nature has given animals some body parts so that they can defend themselves, get food, and look cool. But sometimes those same body parts can hurt an animal so badly that it can easily lose its life. How exactly? Be sure to watch this episode till the end.
What
We made
happened
it
to
for
the turtle?
you. Barusa is one of the most unusual creatures of our planet. It looks like a pig, but differs too much from its congeners.
We already
Bigfoot is
see how this
small,
finna end.
Its back is arched, its legs are long enough, and it has almost no fur. These animals prefer plant food and clean water. But the main thing about Barusa is, of course, their fangs. In males, the lower and upper
That look like it's going right into his brain. Let me just see what they say.
canines grow throughout their life and bend toward the head. It's not uncommon for a fang to grow so much that it begins to grow into the skull, literally. Imagine your tooth bending upward and going up to your forehead. It's not very pleasant. And it's dangerous too. And deer pigs don't like that either. In fact, I think fangs block the view. Fortunately, apart from their strange shape, their fangs are fragile. More often than not, though, they break before they reach the skull. For example, during a fight for a female, or just from time, if you're lucky, of course. Unlike deer pigs, things are much sadder for common reindeer.
Deer pigs.
Their antlers are strong enough even to injure other animals. It's a real weapon that could very well cause the death of its wearer. Male deer fights are common during the breeding season.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm scared of the deer that be in my neighborhood, especially the bucks that got them antlers, man. I'm not messing with them, like, not I.
Then they fight for females, and such battles often end in the death of one of their rivals. Most often, he just runs into another's antlers But during the fierce fight, the hapless males may also clutch the antlers so tightly that they can't deal with this situation by themselves. The end is very sad. The reindeer can't get up, can't eat, are deprived of the possibility to drink, and just slowly die.
Damn, both
Nature
of
can
them
be
die.
ruthless. And if it takes place near the water, the reindeer can not only clash, but fall through the ice together, then freeze.
Was that
also
three of them?
together. But some
Wait a second.
ice together,
Damn,
then freeze,
it is three
also
of them. That
together.
sucks.
But sometimes the animals are lucky and people notice their misery in time. It's enough to cut out a couple of antlers
that
or
shit
shoot
look
them
crazy.
off. Whoa, fella. I hope you knew what you were doing.
Unbelievable. Good shot.
What if you'd missed? Oh well, at least it ended okay. But while the reindeer can get trapped together by accident, things are much worse for argali. These wild rams are considered the largest, can weigh over 100 pounds, and look quite menacing, especially if you look at their large, strong, corkscrew-shaped horns, which argali use to protect themselves from predators and to fight for females. However, despite their majestic appearance, the fate of these wild rams is sometimes tragic. The horns, which are meant to be a powerful weapon of self-defense, can lead the animal to a slow and painful death. The older the argali get, the more likely it is that their horns will begin to grow in the wrong direction and eventually pierce the ram's faces.
During the fight.
Slowly and painfully, they will penetrate deeper and deeper until they result in death, either from infection or anyway, you get the idea. Evolution is a pretty ruthless thing. We should not thank it for such a trick with the poor ram's horns. However, human intervention, too, not always leads to something good. For centuries, people have been making more profitable breed agriculture, and it ended up, well, pretty controversial, especially when it comes to sheep. Wild species still lose most of their wool every year, so do some domestic sheep. But those that are bred for wool always regrow year-round without pause. And if you don't cut them in time, it can end very badly. Long wool is a bad option in very hot weather. Sometimes it leads to heat stress. There are also mobility issues. If a sheep with long wool lays down on a steep slope, it can't roll over from its back. It's like those bugs that lie
That
with
shit
their
look
legs up in the air.
disgusting, man.
In addition, the wool causes vision problems. Not enough trouble? Excess wool, which isn't cut, begins to pile up right on the animal, forming knots. All sorts of parasites thrive under these knots. Insects cause unbearable itching, which disturbs sheep and makes them constantly rub against trees, fences, and against everything that
That's
it comes
like animal
across.
torture.
In such cases, the sheep may tear its sides until they bleed, which is a direct way to infection and
torture.
sepsis. In extreme cases, the sheep with too many wool
that not
may
torture?
die. So sheep need regular visits to the sheep barber, and here's another absurd fact for you. Donkeys need manicures. I'm not kidding. Like horses, most donkeys need their hooves cut at certain intervals. It's usually every 6 to 10 weeks. You got it right.
the
Horses are
fuck?
subjected to this procedure as well. If the hooves aren't cut, the animal loses its ability to walk
I
straight,
ain't never
which
seen no
causes
shit like
trauma,
that in my life.
discomfort, and shock to everyone who sees the bent
Holy
hooves.
shit.
Because it's
That's a
really
big
creepy
ass
sight.
toenail.
I wonder how wild donkeys deal with that.
Oh,
there are
God.
so few wild donkeys left that I guess
That look
hooves would be the
painful,
least
dog.
of their problems.
Oh.
Being a hoofed animal
Been like
is
tree
quite
bark.
difficult because nature constantly strives to give you a death test. Even the most common places can become dangerous if the temperature drops a bit. Honestly, I don't know
Look at
how
Bambi.
deer end up on
Get
the
up,
ice
Bambi.
and so far from the bank. An animal caught in such a situation is doomed if people don't come to help.
Let's get that other front leg.
He like the homie
In
when
this
he gets too
respect,
drunk.
nature is more
Trying to walk
favorable
out
to
the
us.
club.
We know how to keep our balance even on very slippery surfaces. Plus, we invented boats, ropes, hovercrafts, skates, and other useful things. You can use them to get any deer out of a trap.
Man, this happens
the
a
only
lot.
pity is that you won't get any thanks from the
Dumbass
animals.
deer.
Okay. If deer, rams, and other ungulates seem to be very unlucky in life, then there must be some species that got some bonuses from nature. Turtles,
Oh,
for
come on.
example.
What's up with
They
the
live
turtle?
long lives, don't rush anywhere,
How'd the
are
turtle
well
come kill
protected
itself?
from predators by a tough shell, and must feel just fine. Yeah, I thought so too. Until I found out that turtles have one bug. They can't roll over if they're on their backs. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Shoulda known.
If you're about to comment about your pet
Shoulda
turtle
known.
being great at this trick, let me clarify. We're talking about big turtles specifically. And it's not just a coincidence. The height, length, and even shape of a
Look at
turtle's
this nigga.
shell affects its ability to stand on its feet. For
He's
example,
like,
turtles
"God
with
damn,
rounded
man,
shells
somebody
roll
come
over
help me."
faster than flatter ones, and large individuals are much less nimble than smaller ones. The characteristics of the shell literally determine the animal's life. Accidentally flipped over on its back, a helpless turtle can be killed by the sun, starvation, or fall prey to predators. Turtles are especially vulnerable. Their rigid armor doesn't bend with body movements, which of course complicates the
Nigga,
flipping
like,
process.
come on,
Imagine
Earl.
a life that looks like
Get
a
up, Earl.
constant compromise between life and death. Larger individuals live better overall, but having reached too
Don't
big a
die like
size,
this,
turtles
Earl.
risk one day falling
niggas
into
was-
a fatal trap.
they
For
fight.
males, the issue of flipping is perhaps particularly important. In the process of fighting for females, they often fight and try to turn their rival over on their backs. But it would seem that large individuals clearly have an advantage. But once the big turtle loses, it'll never get up on its paws again. Sloths can hardly be called well-adapted
That
creatures
sucks.
because, yes,
That
they
just
are
sound like
that
a
slow,
frustrating ass way
exactly
to
as you
die.
might imagine. Sloths spend most of their lives in the trees, barely moving and blending in with the foliage. Once a week, they come down
What's
to the
gonna
ground to
happen to the
defecate.
sloth?
They sleep about 20 hours a day. Kind of reminds me of humans on vacation. But slowness and friendliness can cost sloths their lives.
that's
And the
a
danger
big-ass
can come
beef.
from anywhere. Any hungry predator can spot a slow animal and eat it. Why not? The dinner won't run away, even if it wants to. Even a spectacled owl,
Ooh.
which in fact is not much larger
That's
than the
easy
sloth in
pickings
size, can
right
get
there,
the job
man.
done. It's just faster, stronger, and, well, it's hungry. We'll see you later.
Damn, man, that sucks, man. Out of all those, man, I'm gonna have to go with, you know what, the ram horn curling up and slowly piercing into the side of your skull. Like, that shit sounds, that has to be the worst. That's number one for me. I'm gonna go with that one. That's terrible, man. Let me know what y'all think about the video. If y'all like it, drop a like, subscribe if you ain't subscribed, do all that good jazz for your boys, the JMatt Show. Be right back for another one, man. Holla.
Straight over. Smokehouse beats.